Oop, there we are. Hello, everybody. It's Brian. Mr. Betcher's right there. Yeah. Hello. Did you say hello? Ah, crap. They can't hear you. Oh, God. Okay, 1 second, y'all. I do not know what is going on. Okay. Everything was working before. Everything seriously was working before. I know. I don't need your pity. No, I'm just kidding. I need your pity. Let me see. Soon blower. Default. Yep. See, I can hear my. That's not what I wanted. Okay. Nope. Okay. It seriously worked before, so. Okay. Give that a shot.
Okay. How about now?
There it is.
No?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the VB cable thing. Anyway, yeah. I wish OBS was just a little bit better with its sound routing and what have you. So anyway, okay. So it's Brian. Hi. And Mr. Betcher. Hey.
Yes. I'm here now.
Eventually.
Well, I was always here, but.
Yeah, we can see you. But, you know, that's only like 20%. We really need to hear your dulcet tones. So, yeah, so we're doing, it's Sunday night. We're doing a little show here. I'm actually going to put this on the audio podcast because I got, no joke, I went to a funeral. It was a friend of ours. He'd been gone for a while. But somebody at the funeral who I had told was doing, you know, listens to podcasts. And they have coworkers that apparently listen to the podcast. So, hey, Brent's coworkers, if you're listening to this, and he said, "Yeah, they listen to the podcast. Are you still doing it?" And I was like, "Well, we're doing more Twitch and YouTube now, but you know, I've heard more than one person say that they'd like to hear the audio podcast again." And to be fair, return to office may actually be good for us. So, in that case,
Hey, did you know that since we have over 21 podcasts,
right,
that puts us in the top 1% of all podcasts.
Shut up.
Podcasters. Yeah.
Shut
all you have to
up.
do is get to number 21 and you're top 1%. 99% don't even get there.
Come on, really? That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah. Well, I guess in terms of sheer numbers, I guess you're going to have folks that are, they
try, they fail.
Yeah, and we've got like 400 and something, and that doesn't include our streams that we haven't completely posted up to audio podcasts either. So
just rarefied air up here.
It's helium, my man. It's helium, not air. So, but yeah, I was at the funeral for our friend Mr. Dave Westbay, and my friend Brent. He was like, "Hey, my coworkers listen to your podcast, or they were up until the time you stopped doing it. Are you still doing it?" And I was like, "Well, you know, people weren't listening to it because you know we all worked from home, and so gonna put this one on audio. So welcome, audio podcast listeners. Welcome, Brent's friends, coworkers, what have you. Hope you enjoy the show. If you are interested in watching the show with your eyeballs, you can go check out our YouTube channel, which is also in the show notes on your favorite podcatcher. So
we don't have props though, so
we don't have well, hold on. It's got a sock here, which is, you know, we ain't morning zoo.
You just have spare socks just within arm's reach, huh?
Well, I took them off because it's a little warm in my room here. I don't know if it's because I'm nervous and sweaty or whatever, but got a little warm in here. So I don't have any mattifiers, so you can see I'm kind of glossy, but yeah. So Miss Berlin, Miss Berlin, of course, lovely Miss Berlin, could not be here. She had an event, seems to be business related, so it was like, please go do that. We'll catch up with you another time.
Yeah, we don't want to sabotage your career.
Yeah. And speaking of that, I think she mentioned, cross fingers, she's working on a village for DEF CON. So if you want to meet people at DEF CON, there is a place to do that. As of the 17th of March, the DEF CON training Las Vegas is open, and you can go and sign up for that on defcon.com. Or defcon.org, anyway. I'm sharing my screen, showing the browser window, which we will use later on. But they're officially open. 4-day courses, $200 early bird discount. Looks like open calls for villages, contests, and communities closed on the 15th. So sorry if you didn't get that one. But I think, tickets and things are going to be coming available if they aren't already. Yeah, so pre-reg is already open. So you can go to shop.defcon.org to get your tickets. And it is a little more expensive this year. Little more expensive. My guess is that we're going to do more and good things. I'm going to be gooning again this year. We're going, we moved into the convention center, which was really lovely, and we're looking to do more of that. So tickets are $540 until May 23rd, and then they jump up $20 to $560 US until July 18th, and then $580 from July 19th to the close of online reg. So. And you don't have to buy them beforehand. You can go do Inhuman Reg or Human Reg at the door. The cash at the door price is only $500. So, Mr. Betcher, you didn't go last year, right?
Right.
You did not go last year.
I did not. Correct. Am I not?
I cannot hear you again.
Oh no. Mic's working. I didn't touch anything.
I don't know what the hell's going on now. You can hear me. I can see you talking. Yeah, John. Thanks, John. 2.0. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Okay. Is this how you treat all your guests?
Let me. Okay. 1 second. 10 hours. Okay, give that a shot.
How about now?
Nope.
No.
Okay, that's really odd. I don't know why I cannot hear you anymore.
Oh.
I was hearing you up until I started my rant about DEF CON. Maybe it's a DEF CON thing. 1 second. Audio properties. Zoom audio capture. Okay, how about that?
Okay.
Okay, that's better. Okay.
Yeah,
I made a change. I think it's when I moved over to the new overlay. So yeah, I didn't have a chance to test everything. So thanks, John 2.0. Thank you. Appreciate the input there. And thank you for chatting. So you didn't go to DEF CON. The line for pre-reg was hilariously long. That was crazy. The length of as a matter of fact, there were so many people in pre-reg that the line for the at-the-door buying of tickets for DEF CON was completely empty at one point. And we were suggesting people, hey, if you want to take your chances and maybe scalp your other ticket for, a legitimate price, then you would be okay. Some people did take advantage of that because it was like, oh, I want to sit here in another 45 minutes in line, or I can just go to, Human Reg and, pay the discounted price. So, and then you got to stand in line for 8 hours for a t-shirt. So merch line was just ginormous. So I still don't get that one. But yeah. So good times. And that'll be the 2nd through the 7th of August, I think, is when all that's going to happen. Or no, 7 to 10 August 2025 at the convention center.
Love those t-shirts though, man.
I know.
Really nice.
I know. They're really good. You can also I don't know if they've opened it up online, but you can actually do the shopping online on shop.defcon.org as well. So yeah. And room blocks are open too at the Venetian and Fontainebleau. Fontainebleau, if you just want to go to the conference, literally right across the street from the convention center. You don't even have to take an Uber. You just walk across the street and go right into the convention center. So it's really nice. But anywho, we have some news and topics for y'all. Which one do you want to start with first? We have 1 through 8 and 1 through 4.
1 through 8 and 1 through 4. Well, it was just the second one, the dark mark.
The dark mark one? Okay. All right, we got that one.
Yeah, let's do that.
So from Dark Mark, Cybersecurity, Hacking, and Tech. The title of this article is Attackers Don't Need Exploits When Everything is Already Public. And the most common attack on the web today doesn't require advanced hacking skills. It just requires knowing where to look. So basically OSINT. And, the biggest issue that they have is it's searching. Tools like Google Shodan and ZoomEye index exposed systems, making them easy to find. The only thing preventing unauthorized access is whether the default password has been changed, and too often it isn't. It's interesting because I think we've talked about this previously. It's like with all the breaches that are out there, is there any data that hasn't been breached? You just have to know where to get it.
Yeah. I mean, I think there is, right? Because you have companies out there that haven't been breached, but we're talking about personal data, right? We're talking about health records and social security numbers and maybe potentially credit cards. I guess credit cards are replaced.
Right.
So let's talk about health records. Unless you just got a new health record, I'm pretty sure everybody's health record is out there.
Yeah.
At least the ones that are a few years old.
Sure. Yeah.
You've got something 5 years ago, it's probably been compromised by now.
Right.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you just had the largest healthcare company in the world got attacked with ransomware. Now, did all the health records disappear? I don't know. Not privy to that, but there's a potential there that they were, because a lot of the ransomware nowadays is actually a Trojan. They'll download all the data, and then at the very end, they'll do the ransomware, right? So I would say if your health records are more than 5 years old, it's out there. It's done for.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
It's compromised.
Yeah. And, if you've ever changed insurances, you might have changed doctors, which means they're asking you for all of your information again. It's gotten better in the past, I would say, decade, where, if there's only a handful of, EMRs out there, so you can ask for, hey, what's your previous doctor's, information, and they can ask for a medical transfer of the records, so you don't have to do that and get your medical record history. But when I moved to San Diego and got a new doctor, they basically made me fill out all the surveys again and all the information again, because it takes time to get that medical record history so you fill things out, you're going to forget some things, especially if you've had a lot of operations, or you've been in the hospital a lot. And so, they're going to have a clean copy of your information as clear as they can until they pull it from that system. And as far as I can tell, I don't think that there's a reason for them on the other end to delete the data that exists there. So they're just kind of making a copy, right? I don't know if they actually have any requirements, and if anybody on chat knows any different. I don't think there's any requirement for them to delete the records there. And I think there might be some medical reason why you can't do that. So, but yeah, it was, it's interesting to see that. So in this article, he said, Eric Daigle, computer science and economics student at University of BC, British Columbia, demonstrated how widespread this issue was in his post. So he's breaking into apartment buildings in 5 minutes, and it was a system that is out there. So it's how to get into the system with you've got a dongle, or you have an automated control system for the building to allow people in and out based on if they belong there, which is by fob, key fob, or whatever. And he said he didn't use sophisticated exploits or advanced tools tools, just a brand name on an apartment entry panel and a few Google searches, leading to an installation guide, which include default admin credentials. Again, change your admin credentials from, admin or whatever it was. A quick search for the login page revealed other exposed systems using the same defaults, and was also able to find 89 other vulnerable sites that didn't change their security passwords. Resident names linked to apartment numbers, logs showing when tenants entered and exited the building, phone numbers of residents, options to create or disable key fobs, and a manual override function to unlock doors. That's nightmarish. I mean, that's a security system that isn't going to secure shit. In this case, that's pretty much giving anybody access if all they need to do is look it up on their phone. Now,
apparently, it's just inconvenience now. Your whole security system. I mean,
it's an inconvenience. It's an inconvenience system, not a security system. So
yes,
yeah.
Like for all the residents. Oh, you got to use a badge. Oh, okay.
Such a pain in the ass. Oh wait, I've just found on the website how to do the manual override. Okay, cool. Doink. Now I can get in anytime I want, or I can let my friends get in without me being able to ring them up or whatever. I think there's a lot of organizations I've pulled up, Cisco manuals for things with default passwords in them, and of course the idea is the best practice is you're supposed to change those. But when you put these into apartments or you put any kind of security, quote unquote, systems into an organization, there's it's up to the people who recently purchased the box or the Blinky box or this inconvenient system to change those passwords. They haven't been told by the company. They just get this system. And
and I'm sure at some point companies said, hey, we'll have this default password, but we'll make them change it on the first login.
Right.
And then when they make them change it, then they get calls and say, oh, well, I don't know, Bob set it up and he's gone. So what's the default? And they're like, well, I don't know. I mean, we can't reset it for you. And so then they put in back doors so that it could actually, and then those back doors were exploited. And it's just been a huge nightmare for these security companies. What do you do if you have a default password, which you have to have on first startup? You have to power cycle it then at some point and factory default, right?
Yeah. And if, I don't know how it is for this building control system, but, if you do a factory reset, could be invalidating all the key fobs that you just set up for hundreds of apartment tenants who now can no longer get into their house. Or anybody who's using, was that the vacation thing? Verbo or, whatever. Verbo or Verbo. I forget the other one. Yeah, something similar like that, it's unfortunate because, I think the only difference is this article has Eric Daigle, who understands that those resources are available on the internet. So Google searches, Zoom-I, Nuclei, Shodan, these things. A normal person who is trying to get into a building would not do that. One of the things they might do would be like, somebody holds the door open for them and they just get in that way or whatever. It wouldn't be, I wouldn't say as sophisticated as this, but there are certain levels to research. Some people wouldn't even know that, control system, user manuals for your building would be available online. That's just the circle we run in, where it'd be like, yeah, I know that because I did several OSINT classes, or I know how to Google things, or maybe the new thing will be AI telling people, hey, where do I get the information for the default creds for this apartment building control center? And the AI, that's not against their programming because it's not something that might be bad. They might be able to hallucinate that for them or something like that. So I think that's where the new like finding out information is going to be heading. It's not going to be, your Shodans and whatever. It's going to be telling an AI to hallucinate what the password for your, Cisco kit is if you've forgotten what the password is instead of going to Google. But yeah.
So what about hotel systems? Can you actually, there's a default password somewhere, get the key for, let's say, maintenance worker or cleaning person, create your own card, and then you can just walk into any hotel room that you want?
Yeah.
Right. That's scary. You're staying in a hotel, either you're alone, or let's say you leave to go somewhere and somebody comes in, rummages through all your stuff, takes any valuables.
Right. Yeah, I guess it would depend on how you're planning on attacking that. If you're Eric Daigle, you've gone online and done all this stuff. If you're trying to break into a hotel and break into rooms, you may just get a uniform of somebody who looks like they may be in housekeeping. Like you may have scrubs that are the same color as the uniforms of, maintenance, or you may, see a birthday party of the local hotel and everybody still has their badges on, so you can zoom in and like make a, that's the HID class 2, one. I'm just going to go buy one of those and I'm going to put my picture and make it look like it, I belong here. And my badge doesn't work. Hey, can you re-enable me or whatever? There might be some social engineering or physical controls there. There might be other ways of doing this. But yeah, in this case, you don't even have to be involved with a person. You could just be standing outside this building and get access to things. And depending on how in-depth this is, because some of these control building systems will go down to like, you use the fob to get in the front door, then you use the fob to get into the elevator, and then you use the fob to pick your level, kind of like at a hotel. And then, you're in, your apartment is 225, you just use the fob to get in that way. But since you can unlock doors, this system may allow you to unlock every door in the place and get in as you wish. So it was just, there's a whole big, write-up on this, spotting the device, searching the product, interphone. But yeah, so 5 easy steps: freedom, administration, login, entering it into Google. There's still some Google dorking out there that's useful. Oh, looks like it's hosted on US East 2, according to this, with a username and a password. Looks like those are both blanked out. So logging into exposed systems. So the admin panel is, of course, exposed to the internet, which is great. So if you default credentials on an admin panel that's exposed to the internet, and that is, that's unfortunate. I wouldn't say it's the worst that I've seen, but that's pretty bad for that system and that hotel system. So hopefully they have a bug bounty program and they got paid for it.
At some point I'm wondering, do they even have anyone with security mindset, information security mindset on staff at a lot of these apartment complexes, hotels?
Well,
it depends on, say, hey,
yeah,
you could hire a temp CISO to come in for 6 weeks and just, take a look at their entire infrastructure and make sure that.
Yeah, I don't know what the relationship is with the apartment buildings and the company. I imagine that like when you buy into the building control system, there's like a centralized place with which this has been, almost like an MSP or something like that, a service provider that is handling all this stuff. So, you would hope that the MSP of 90 different apartment buildings that all use the same building control systems would be like, somebody just went to our admin page and logged in with the admin credentials, and
they ought to be. I think they would have an obligation to make sure that
I would hope so.
Systems that they helped create weren't so easily exploitable.
Right. The only thing I would, and it is absolutely wrong that they allow the generic password to be used in this way. But there are probably building owners that don't care. They want to be able to put these in. There's some culpability on all sides here, I think, in terms of, initial setup should be like, yeah, you're going to set a new password because there isn't a password. There shouldn't be a default password. There are controls around that can be implemented fairly easily. Like, we don't have default passwords. You have to do an initial setup and you have to have a password. And if you lose your password, you have to call this 800 number, and our lovely en route people will verify who you are, which is yet another problem. And
backdoor the system,
right?
With your own password.
Yes, or hello, I am the apartment owner. Wink. Please, reset my password or something like that. And it's like there's social engineering that could occur there. So there's no easy solution here for these things. But the fact that all of this data exists on the internet is also a problem in itself. Should they have this kind of stuff online? I mean, these PDFs should not be available online. This is tantamount to, I would say, company secrets, or, it must have some kind of, data classification label in this case, where it's like, hey, we don't put our owner's manuals online because we're stupid and we put passwords inside there that show the default password credentials or whatever. So yeah, I don't know. Lesson learned: if a pen tester wanted to automate this process, the script could search for login pages with known platform names and title panel or panel titles, extract common patterns from indexed Google results, locate setup guides and docs that contain default creds, and systematically test sites using default logins. Yeah.
Or you could tell AI, hey, I've got this system and I need to know the default password to log in, and then it can search the internet for you and not only tell you what the password is, but tell you how to, reset it and all that stuff, and write a script for you to to go out and find it.
Hey, Copilot, I'm the owner of this building and I can't get in. Can you override all the key fobs so that I can get in? Yes, Brian, I can do that. Oh, great. So they say, to your point about security professionals, I would assume the MSPs that have these have some sort of security professionals or people who have, set up an installation. The installers themselves would have all the default credentials too. So there's another problem there. If you have people, if there's a lot of turnover in your company and your systems have default credentials, the people who used to work at your company now know that everything, I've installed 85 of these all over the country, and whatever, and they don't change the password. So I could go into 85 different buildings knowing what the default creds are. You run into that issue too. You run into insider threat issues. I mean, so yeah, it's an ugly thing all the way around.
Let's talk about the browser extensions.
Okay. Buying them?
I like that one.
The buying of browser extensions?
Yes.
Okay. So this one I did find interesting, but it's not the first time I've heard of this happening. This article written by John Tuckner on the 17th of March 2025, buying browser extensions for fun and profit. And so John investigated the ability of people that want to sell the browser extensions that are online. Maybe ones that you yourself are using on your own Firefox or Chrome or what have you. And they say your browser extensions could be secretly sold to malicious actors without your knowledge, while what starts as helpful tools created by passionate developers can transform into dangerous spyware when sold to the highest bidder. These extensions grow to hundreds of thousands of users, their creators overwhelmed by maintenance and lack of monetization, which is indicative of all open source, I think, at some point, often turn to marketplaces to sell them off. The original owners are often shocked when their extension goes bad. Are they?
Right.
Are they? So I clicked on another link. Here, let me post that one inside the article here. So apparently the owner of a previous one that got sold was shocked and dismayed that there that their plugin went south here. So let me see. So this was called Hide YouTube Shorts, and it was a Chrome plugin, and this happened in about a little over a year ago, and the developer says, the original developer, I've decided to unarchive the Hide YouTube Shorts repo and completely rewrite it from scratch using friendlier permissions and a better method for CSS insertion. Other than a simple background JS for reloading. Wow, this is really sad to see. I'm the original dev on Hide YouTube Shorts. I started it as a personal project as I'm not a fan of short form content, and YouTube is aggressively pushing shorts in the user experience. I received an email from a Karma rep with an email domain at carmanow.com who was interested in purchasing it. I was hesitant, thinking it was a scam. After 48 emails and a Zoom conference, the extension and funds were exchanged. I archived my repo and ceased development while maintaining a private fork for personal use. I'm still technically under NDA in perpetuity, so I'm not sure how much I can delve into that. Wow, okay. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but basically the original developer was unhappy with how somebody who paid because this person sold their baby to someone else, their baby is now ugly, and they said, oh, now I should have explored alternatives. However, at the time, with YouTube's constant changes and my limited experience with Chrome's extension API, it seemed like the most reliable solution to maintain functionality. So apparently the person bought it and added some stuff that the original owner did not like. And so there's probably other ones like that too. So, but yeah, anyway, back to the original article. So this person said, I've been tracking extensions listed for sale on the website extensionhub.io for some time. There have been numerous extensions listed over time, from 400,000 users on sale for $100,000 with extensions with just 5 users. One being a browser extension from a fan who I worked on this project with, listed for $50. So, basically talked. He goes through the article talking about how easy it is to make changes, and what they normally do when they get this when this happens. So, it's sad because this is a supply chain issue. It's not just browser extensions this could affect. This could be an NPM module, or a Python module or a PyPy module or something like that, where it's like somebody's like, I've been, this is my baby, but, I've got so much hate and I'm not getting any money for it. And people are expecting me to do a lot of stuff for it. But some guy offered me $50 for it, so I'm going to give it to them. And they can do whatever they want with it at that point. So
that's right.
What do you do? What do?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, I can definitely see from a developer point of view, this is a project they had. Mm-hmm. They're not getting any money for it. They like it to go on. Maybe it's a great thing, but they don't want to spend time on it, and they feel it's their obligation to make it better or at least maintain it.
Right.
But they can't anymore. They're just done.
Right.
And so it would behoove them to, sell it to somebody who is enthused about it. Right. And so that's what they're thinking. They think whoever they're selling it to has good intentions, and apparently they, sometimes they don't. And what do you do as a user of that extension? How do you know when it got sold? Do you get a notice? Hey, your extension is no longer owned by the original owner. It was transferred.
It's my understanding you don't get that kind of notification. Now, to be fair, on this blog post, SecureNX does do a thing at the bottom. It's like, oh, we'll let you know if any of your browser. It is a marketing blog type post. So if you go to the bottom, they're like, oh yeah, we have this thing that we do, blah blah blah. But the research is sound. So just to keep that in mind. This may be something you'd be worried about at your organization if you know that people are using things like AdBlock or, very popular apps like Cookie Remover or Enhancer for YouTube or something like that. I myself use uBlock Origin. I have the Wayback Machine one, cookie remover, so it removes cookies from sites. How easy would it be for the cookie remover to remove those cookies from that site, but then pass them along to some bad guy on the back end if this just got hit up? Yeah, lessons learned. While I assume the process of buying an extension and deploying new code to existing users would be as easy as I experienced, some steps did surprise me. I did not expect the developer I worked with to do so freely transfer the extension. In this article, the person he bought this extension from was from India, offered $50 for it. So the person who wrote the blog said, yeah, I'll pay $50 for it. Unfortunately, they could not pay internationally, and none of the options that they had for transferring the money would work. International credit cards, the guy in India couldn't accept international payments. So the developer said, yeah, you just take it. It's cool. You know, just think of me and mention me in your blog post. So I'm like, oh. Gods. Okay. Great. But yeah, so Google did verify with the developer the extension transfer was requested. So that is something that Google does do. I don't know how often they do that and you know how that scales. The new version I released did seem to go through a review process before being published, but it's unclear to what degree of scrutiny. So that's something. I mean, but how do you know what's legit and what isn't? You know, if it's all of a sudden, maybe if it changes certain permissions, like, you know, instead of something like I said, the cookie remover thing, if it was removing cookies and blocking cookies from being loaded, and then all of a sudden, not only is it not blocking cookies, but it's, you know, sending those cookies to someplace.cn, then that might be something worth scrutiny. But there's no guess there, right? So here's a real world example. Did you see the one where they said ad block for YouTube and Chrome all block is $100,000 for that, and it utilizes the same permissions that I use to identify and manipulate traffic with Website Blocker. And they said the owner changed from all block at proton.me to woof at curlydoggo.com, indicating a transfer of ownership had taken place. And 2 weeks later, the first version under the new ownership was pushed. The version immediately started triggering code signatures that matched access of sensitive browser headers like cookies. Clearly something had changed behaviorally in the code. So that's the problem that we have with supply chain type issues. And SecureNX is trying to sell us their product at the end. You know, hey, we have this thing. You just pay us a bunch of money, and we'll tell you if and when your extensions, you know, get changed. But yeah, once you no longer own the extension as the original owner, you can't do anything about it, and that's problematic. Hell, I think even with some extensions, there have been stories where somebody brought someone on because they seemed really excited about helping out with this thing, and the original owner was like, cool, I can get help. And that new person brought on just started putting malicious code in the application. So.
Yeah, and I guess there's an extension called under new management, which tells you when another extension changed hands.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Wait. So this is some Inception level shit here. It's like under new management extension could be installed, but what happens if under new management gets taken over by new management?
Very interesting.
Yeah. Under new management, huh? Let's go look at this one here. Oh, we're sorry, you do not have access. Oh, Chrome Web Store. I'm using Microsoft Edge, that's why. Sometimes the Chrome extensions can work in Edge, but yeah. It can be installed to provide notifications of ownership changes in your browser. It would be wise to review marketplace listings of extensions routinely. Yeah, nobody will do that. Verify your organization does not use those extensions or work to remove them if one goes up for sale. Yeah, nobody's going to do that. You may need to have already collected a list of extensions in use by your organization in order to do this. Yes. Great. Sounds great. Nobody will do that because that is like number 1,000,005 on the list of things that blue teamers have to do every damn day. And unfortunately, I can only get through 500,000 a day. So the other remaining 500,005 don't get done. So if that is this is one of those things that's like, if that is really in your threat model that you have to worry about that shit, then, then make it a reason for that to be important. So how often are you checking extensions, Mr. Betcher? You're probably doing it every hour, right?
Yeah, just need to make sure that uBlock origin hasn't been sold.
Yeah. I think the reason
it was actually forked.
Yeah,
and
I think
someone
it was
else took
too.
over because of Chrome.
Yeah, uBlock. There was some Chrome changes or something like that, but I seem to remember there was a very like AdBlock Plus, I think, was the one that got sold, and people were concerned because it went to a Turkish company.
That's not suspicious at all.
Sold. Yes. AdBlock blocker business bought. AdBlock had been bought by an unknown purchaser, but the signs say the blocker is probably being gobbled by rival AdBlock Plus. So AdBlock was bought by AdBlock Plus, which is in Germany's acceptable ad system. So in this case, I think it was mostly okay. But there was one that was like a browser extension sold to a Turkish company.
There's also the ad blocker that got paid to not block a lot of ads.
Yep.
So,
yep.
Yeah. I don't know why they wouldn't think people would notice or not notice.
Okay, so there was one in 2017, this is a little while ago, company going around buying abandoned Chrome extensions from the original developers and converting these add-ons into adware. This skeep came to light 2 days ago in 2017 when users of popular Chrome extension began complaining about an update that requested 2 intrusive permissions that the extension never used or would never have had a reason to read or change data on all websites visited and manage apps, extensions, and themes. Chrome extension was called Particle, formerly known as YouTube Plus, and is a simple tool that allows users to change the UI and behavior of some YouTube standard features. So the original author was approached by a company that offered to buy the extension for a price of his choosing. So, write a blank check. We'll make it out to cash. We'll just, how much ever you want. And the developer's like, $8,000, done. That kind of thing. Terms of the sale included an NDA, so the original author couldn't even talk about it, which is funny. Now we have somebody who, wasn't making any money, it wasn't monetized, capitalism at its best. It was sold to a company that started turning it into adware. And womp womp. Yep. So there's a couple there's at least one example that I knew of, that I had heard of, that had that issue as well. So I'll grab that one as well. All right. Like I said, if it is such a case that every extension that your company uses is under scrutiny because of reasons, that is something you need to worry about. But I would argue that if you're doing that and not doing it to all of the, PyPy or NPM or any of the other modules that you're pulling in for any of the software you develop, you should probably be doing that one first. But,
Yep.
It is an interesting problem with supply chain being what it is. So, do you use so, Mr. Petcher, you do some light programming on the side. Do you use a lot of packages? Do you keep track of the packages you're running in your environment, or do you not have packages in your environment?
Depends on what I'm programming, but. For the company, we do, what do you call it? Dependency tracking.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you use like a sync or something like that, right?
I don't know what sync is.
SYNK?
It basically, any software that you grab from the internet, it makes sure that the version you're running is up to date.
Right. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, you can sync is one of the monitors for vulns where you develop with security intelligence, or it looks up package you're using or things in your build process has been out of date. It will let you know in some cases. But they don't sponsor the show. They could, but they don't. But
you haven't approached them yet.
I'm not good at that. I wish I was, but I'm not. So, yeah, I mean, it's that there's anytime you bring in software from an outside source that you blindly trust, you're running into the potential for browser extensions or PyPI or NPM or any of these things to being out of your control. You don't have control on what that is. So yeah, that's interesting. So you know what? I'm gonna put the articles that we've been talking about in the list here, so in the chat for folks, they can follow along. What else do we want to talk about? I think probably one more. That way we can call it a good night, because I got to do some more boot.dev. So. You want to do the threat intelligence quiz?
Yeah, we could.
Okay.
I got a family member. Just 1 second. Yeah, you can start talking about that.
Sure. Okay, so I was doing a lot of these on my stream on Tuesdays and Fridays, and it took a little hiatus, and there was it's called SOCVEL, SOCVEL, and it is a threat intelligence quiz that you can do every week. It is 10 questions, and it has links to news articles about those things. And usually it's based on like malware, ransomware stuff, but it keeps you informed, and you kind of guess and you can figure those things out. So starting first, the format's changed a little bit. There actually is an article, or a site with all the links to the articles. But so question number 1, from Red Canary's threat detection report, abuse of what accounts saw a 16-fold increase in detections? Admin accounts, domain accounts, local accounts, or cloud accounts? Now, I don't know the answers to any of these, so I'm going to be guessing along with you. So if anybody is also in chat and they want to try to guess along with us, assuming you haven't read the article. But so, Mr. Bedger, how about you? Red Canary's detection report, an abuse of what accounts saw a 16x fold increase in detections?
I want to say cloud.
Cloud? Okay. All right. That makes sense. I think so. I think you're right on that one. So let's go see. Yes, you are correct. Look at you. Let me see, where is the article for this? The one thing I didn't do, let me go and get SOCVEL. I don't know why there it is, new SOCVEL is out. So for whatever reason, okay, so SOCVEL 7 quiz, attackers are moving faster than ever, malicious infrastructure report. I don't know if this is the right one or not. Let me see. Question 7. Let me see here. Yeah, okay. So this is the right list from SOCVEL. If you are interested, you can go and check that out. Oh, there we go. Paste in our box there. All right. I'll post this up into our Google Doc as well. Now, it comes out weekly, so the report will change from time to time. But there's the links to the articles that you can follow along and read on. I thought they would be in order, but I don't think they are. Chinese nationals, threat actors. I was trying to figure out which one might be the malvertising campaign, camera off, 10, yeah, reading list, okay. Let me see. Okay, well, we'll see. All right, number two. We know it's cloud accounts. All right, next. All right. From Intel 471's Lockbit 4.0 report, what do the group use to avoid detections? Do they avoid detections using lol bins, lol drivers, lol RMM, or lollies?
I'm going to have to say lol bins.
Lol bins.
I don't know how that would be used to avoid detection off the top of my head. But
wow, you're 2 for 2, Mr. Betcher.
Yeah. Oh, just using them because you're using the tools that are native to the operating system.
Right.
So
right.
that
right.
in and of itself can help you avoid detection. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I might actually put some feedback in here because it's hard to figure out if, the 10 questions are mapping correctly. So, because I don't see Unit 42's article in here. So, recorded future, Microsoft, justice, human security, proof point, Microsoft. Yeah, I'm gonna send Sockville some. Not a strongly worded letter, but just like, hey, it would be a little more user-friendly if we could click those after we got it wrong or whatever. What Windows feature did Trend Micro highlight as having been abused by APT groups for years? DNS requests, VSS snapshots, LNK files, or ROP, or return-oriented programming. So Trend Micro highlighting and being abused by APT groups for years. I have an idea, but
I don't know. That's a tough one. I'm not sure. I'm going to guess LNK.
LNK files? Okay, I was thinking VSS snapshots, but we'll go with LNK files. Man, you are on it tonight. 3 for 3 so far. Wow, look at you, man.
You sure? You're not just faking,
seriously. No.
Like on Ghostbusters?
No. I would share my screen, but it'll mess things up. If you go to twitch.tv/BrakeSec, you will see you're 3 for 3 right now.
The answers. Okay.
Yeah, I'm showing the answers when I click next. So that's how I know that you're right. LNK files are shortcut files. So when you create a shortcut in Windows, the file is called whatever zoom.lnk is a shortcut file. All right, so number 4. Wiz, W-I-Z. Okay, so I might know this one. While being bought for billions, warned of a GitHub supply chain attack. Which one of these would have the most exposure? Private users, enterprise users, private repos, or public repos? Wiz, while being bought for billions by Google, warned of a GitHub supply chain attack. Which one of these would have the most exposure? Private users, enterprise users, private repos, or public repos? Logically.
Private repos?
I was thinking public repos, but nope, it was public repos. Sorry, got that one wrong. I was thinking public because they have the most exposure because they probably have the least amount of security. That was my thought. Let me go see if I can find that one on here. Now, I'm not sure these articles are matching up. I think this might be last week's stuff. So, yeah. And for everybody used to open books exams, here's your reading list. Yeah, so I'm not exactly sure why that pops up the way it did. Okay, next one. Bitdefender highlighted mass exploitation of a PHP vulnerability. Which of these was a common command seen during exploitation? Shutdown, format, who am I, or our favorite tracert, or traceRT in this case. Exploitation of a PHP vuln. Which of these was a common command seen during exploitation? I'm thinking not shutdown. I'm thinking who am I, right? Because that's like they want to know if they become root or not, right? So that does make sense. Yes, good job. Good job, you. That one makes the most sense. Tracert, format, no, and shutdown, no. None of those made sense. So, IAS Threat Lab uncovered a massive Android app campaign. What is the attacker's end goal? Again, a massive fake Android app campaign. What is the attacker's end goal? To steal creds, ad revenue, espionage, or bank fraud? I think this one sounds fairly straightforward for me, but
yeah, bank fraud. I'm thinking
bank fraud. Okay, I was thinking stealing creds, but we'll go. No, ad revenue. We were both wrong. Okay, so apparently they're using to uncover fake ad revenue. Yeah, weird.
Okay.
I know a lot of the games that I play on Android because I'm old, so I play those tower defense games and stuff. No, not Candy Crush, but it's just a little bit above that. Yeah.
Graduated.
But they have the in-app purchases, like if you want to get boosts or something like that. So, all right. Reversing Labs discovered VS Code extensions downloading malware from where? AWS, Dropbox, Google Drive, or GitHub? I think I heard this one. I think I've heard of this one.
Downloading what?
They discovered that VS Code extensions, which is yet another package that is open source that you should not necessarily trust, downloading ransomware. So these VS Code extensions are downloading ransomware from where? AWS, Dropbox, GitHub, or Google Drive?
AWS.
AWS. That would have been my thought too. Yes, you are correct, sir. Yes. See, this works so much better when you're here because we get more of them right. When I try to do these by myself, I'm like 4 of 10 or 5 of 10, and we're already doing better than average for me. So everything's gravy at this point. All right. Next, Secure Annex. So it's a company called Secure Annex. Oh, wait, we just talked about this. We just talked about this one. Secure Annex warned of attackers buying what and turning it malicious? Android apps, GitHub repos, domain names, browser extensions. So we know that one is Android apps.
Browser extensions.
Oh, okay. I clicked the wrong one. Yes, browser extensions. We weren't. Android apps was something else. Crap. Well, I would have gotten that right if I didn't mess it up. So. You were right. I was wrong on that one. So you got one more than me. All right. So based on Cyber Reason's bin attacks write-up, I think this is number 7. So we got 3 more. Based on Cyber Reason's bin attacks write-up, which is not systematically guessed for payment card data during attacks. The expiration date, the CVV, the first 6 digits, or the digits after bin. So what is not systematically guessed for payment card attacks on payment cards?
What is the bin?
Bin, that is a good question. Payment card, bin.
One is not guessed.
Bank identification number, the first 4 to 6 numbers on a payment card. So bin are the numbers after the card. So in this case, the first 4 to 6 ones identify the bank, and then the number that you have is basically the number that you use. So the credit card numbers are 16 digits. First 4 to 6 are the bank number, and there's probably a series of bank numbers, and then like the last digit is a checksum. So the numbers in between are really your account number in this case. So the digits after bin, I would assume are guessed. My guess is... I would
say bin.
The digits after bin?
Not guessed.
The digits after bin. Okay.
Yeah, the digits after bin.
Nope, the first 6 digits, which are the bank numbers.
Yeah, it was one of those 2. I know.
Yeah, it had to. Yeah, the CVV would have. The CVV probably was going to be checked, but yeah, the first 6 digits would not have been.
Okay, so that makes sense because they would. No, it doesn't make sense. If they know the bank credit card number, if they've got your credit card number, they've got the full number. They could guess the date.
Right.
You could guess, the CVV, right?
Right. This was the things they're not doing. So they're not guessing the first 6 digits because if you have, say, San Diego County Credit Union, then they know these 6 digits are the ones for San Diego County Credit Union. Or, these, there's 4 6-digit numbers that San Diego County Credit Union uses. So they don't need to guess those because they have those 4 numbers or values that they can put in for this. And then I don't know if the checksum at the end includes these 6 digits. I don't know about that much, but yeah. So that that would make sense, I guess, the first 6 digits. So, all right. And I think we've got one more. ProDaft highlighted Fin7's Anubis backdoor. Where is it downloaded from to evade detection? So ProDaft, threat intelligence company, highlighted Fin7's Anubis backdoor. Where is it downloaded from to evade detection? And the answers, potential answers, are SharePoint sites, GitHub repos, S3 buckets, or EC2 servers. SharePoint sites, GitHub repos, S3 buckets, or EC2 servers. I think this is the last question. Yeah.
Maybe S3 buckets.
S3 buckets? I was thinking GitHub repos, but both of them are, would show somewhat of a reputable site. So I would be okay with either one of those. I don't see a lot of SharePoint sites exposed to the internet. And if I was downloading, so that one's out. EC2 servers, again, has kind of the same thing as an S3 bucket, but an S3 bucket notoriously is misconfigured. So I think you're right.
I would say S3 bucket because a lot of times they're compromised. They put their malicious stuff on there and there's no trace back to them.
Yep, exactly. So I think you're right. It is, no, it's actually SharePoint sites. Oh, okay. I need to go find this ProDaft thing. Yeah, Anubis backdoor.
I mean, it was a certain malware that did a certain thing. That's fine.
Yeah.
So it was a guess.
Okay. So it wasn't too hard to find the blog. I'll put this one in our chat and our notes as well. And if you're listening to the show, you can go check that out. It's at the bottom, number 5. There we go. Okay, so where is it? Oh, there it is. Unboxing Anubis. All right. Exploring the stealthy tactics of Fin7's latest backdoor. Wow. Okay. Fin7's been around since 2015. Established itself as one of those technically sophisticated criminal groups. Yeah. First seen on VirusTotal of files of interest, conf.py and backdoor.py have a low detection count. This shows the initial obfuscation and encryption tactics worked for the threat actor to prevent detections by antivirus vendors. And initial infection is a zip file containing Python files. Okay, and then script contains declassification. Yeah, there's a lot of pictures in this article that are not loading. Maybe it's an older doc. 320. Oh no, so from yesterday, from Friday. The analysis of the back door. So where do they mention? Let me see. SharePoint. Okay, it's weird. They mention SharePoint, but the SharePoint is not mentioned at all in the article.
In the article?
So, yeah, I just did a search for SharePoint and I'm not finding it anywhere in the article. So
search for S3.
Yes. Nope. EC2. Nope. That is really weird. So,
okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to send a message over to Sockville and say, hey, love your stuff, but maybe have the attached pic, like you did before you made changes. Yeah, because when I would get them wrong before, they would have the article, regardless if you got it yes or no, and it would just go to that link. Maybe the system that Sockville is using doesn't allow for that. Streamlined file upload mechanism allowing attackers to deliver additional tools and malware to compromise systems. Yeah, they don't mention SharePoint in here at all, but they do have the code and everything. And I can actually read this. I've been learning Python on boot.dev, so I can actually read read a lot of that stuff now again. Yeah. It says Python-based remote access tool operates across Windows environments. It's design demonstrates Fin7's continued evolution in developing covert communication channels that blend with legitimate network. So they have IOCs and IPs and C2s in there if you want to go check those out. Here, let me grab that and post that into chat for everybody. Doink. There we go. All right. Well, that was fun. I think you would have gotten one more than I did. So show results. There we go. You got 7 out of 10. I got 6 out of 10. Yeah, email jocko@sockville.com if you're interested. You can go check out the link there. No, what am I doing? Okay. So, yes, get rid of that. There we go. And paste. There we go. Cool. Well, I think that's all I got. There's a ton of stuff that we have in our show notes, in our YouTube channel, more comments there. There's a lot of other stuff that we didn't get to. I may actually talk about some of these later this week on the show, on the stream on Tuesday. The quantifying risk was a good, the Van Vliet one down here at the bottom on Medium, talking about trend technique analysis and how that can, you can quantify risk, right? So in many organizations, being able to quantify risk is hard, but using MITRE to say, well, if it takes 5 different steps to do these things and we've covered 3 of those things, I think they had a percentage of on being able to, do, like, if you got 3 of those fixed, then you can solve 47% of the issues, or you'll detect 47% of attacks based on these 3 controls, and you can start modeling, the things that really matter will reduce your risk the most, and that kind of thing. So it was an interesting discussion on that. So, yeah. Anyway, and there's some Windows nerd stuff in there about error codes and things, and some walkthroughs on that. So I know I put that one in there because I know, Mr. Betcher, you're a big fan of Windows error codes and walkthroughs of those items.
Love those error codes.
Love those Windows error.
AI security. I'm going to read that in more detail.
Oh, the AI security
for the chatbot.
Yeah. The AI agent one. Yeah, and then. There's a lot of stuff in there. A lot of, we always have more than what we have to go through. So, including a CTI, open source CTI called Cradle, which is available online it's a collaborative platform that I found this afternoon, just futzing around online. Uses Python and JavaScript. So I was looking for Python and JavaScript projects, and this one has roughly half JavaScript or half Python, and it's a collaborative platform for CTI analysts, streamlines threat investigations with integrated note-taking, automated data linking, interactive visualizations, and robust access control. Enhance your CTI workflow from analysis to reporting, all in one secure space. And looks like it's being actively maintained, so go check that out if you're a CTI person. So. Cool. Mr. Betcher, how would people find you if they wanted to chat with you about all kinds of things?
Probably LinkedIn. If you hit me up on X, sorry, I don't check it that often. So
yeah. I haven't been on X in forever. The couple of people that I was following on there, I hit them up on Signal and I said, hey, I'll just reach out to you on here if I want to talk to you. I'm on Bluesky, and it's at brianbrake.com. I'm on LinkedIn as well, so you can hit me up on LinkedIn if you want to chat with me. If you've got an interesting job or anything that you are hiring for, I wouldn't be against talking with you about it. Miss Berlin, you can find her on LinkedIn as well, and Amanda Berlin, so you can go check her out. And she's doing a lot of stuff, a lot of content. I think she's been on several podcasts recently, which is great. You can go back and see her posts on LinkedIn. And
now, her village, is it going to be mental health, or is it something different entirely?
No, I believe it is the mental health village, which, to be fair, and I will say this, DEF CON could have used it last year. definitely. They had a nice quiet space for folks. So it was like subdued lighting. There was some lo-fi on and everything. And people could go in there when they were feeling overwhelmed, but they could really have used Amanda and her mental health village. I think it's an excellent, chill space, or just a way to, because I mean, there was a lot of people at the convention center, and it's very different than what, if you've ever been to DEF CON. I had never been to DEF CON before, so this was my first year at the convention center. My understanding was you stood in like casino area. There was a lot of lines, it was a different experience. So this could have actually used a really nice big mental health space, or to be able to continue the discussions with mental health issues. And I know that with everything going on, everybody needs a little, mental health wellness check and what have you. So hoping that happens. We'll keep you informed if you're interested in that, and we'll keep you, our listeners, as well. So I think that was it for Breaking Down Security this week. Mr. Betcher, thank you again. It's always a pleasure to have you join me. And I'll be on Tuesday, probably hopefully doing some more of my Python on boot.dev. I'm going through dictionaries right now, which I'm actually zooming through because it's a lot of questions, but it's like dictionaries are lists, which are kind of like tuples, but none of them are all exactly the same. So learning about boot.dev, which is an interesting application for those of you if you're wanting to learn how to be a back-end developer. So it teaches you, it's weird because the first thing that you do is they teach you Python, and then module 2 is Linux. So you learn Linux commands and stuff. So this is for people who maybe came from Windows and are trying to move into something else. So they have Python number 1, and they're like, oh yeah, you should do these in order. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do the Linux stuff because I can breeze through that. SQL is number 12, SQL. So, I'm running SQL commands.
It's covering a lot.
Yeah, I'm just bouncing around on everything. But they have practical stuff too. So when you get to section 4, you're learning how to create a book bot. And then there'll be, other deeper areas. You're going to learn about HTTP. You're going to learn about Go. You're going to build an HTTP server. So it's not going to be like import http.os or whatever in Python and, you're done. You're going to code this shit up yourself. You're going to create APIs. And I was like, that's one thing that I have not seen from any training program. It's if you go search on the internet on building a rudimentary API, it's like, oh, just install Flask and you're done. And I'm like, no, that's not the point. You should learn how to use it instead of just, typo shitting, import Flask and going with it. So, some of it's going to be that. I'm going to learn Go. We're going to learn JavaScript, but there's, CI/CD pipeline. You're going to learn Git. You're going to learn, a bunch of stuff. So I'm going through that, and they don't pay me for this. I really don't do the sponsorship thing right. But if you are interested, boot.dev, and you can go check it out. You can actually do all of the stuff up to a certain chapter for free. So the first 4 chapters of Python are free, which I think takes you up to comparisons or something like that. So it's really nice. You can actually test it out, and they have an AI, which is the other thing I like. If you get stuck, you can talk to the AI, and he will walk you through how to solve the issue eventually in a Socratic method, like asking you leading questions on those things. So yeah. So again, I'm really bad at sponsorships or asking for sponsorships. They didn't pay me for any of that 30-minute diatribe on boot.dev, but it's just really good, and it's just very interesting. I've not seen this kind of education before. And apparently the guy who founded it's an ex-Netflixer. So, he's an ex-Netflixer back-end developer. So he's probably done a little bit of coding. So yeah. But anyway, thanks again, everybody, for coming. Take care of yourselves. And Mr. Betcher, thanks again. Appreciate you being here. And I appreciate you being here, you, the viewer, you, the listener. And I want you to be safe and stay sane and take care of yourselves. Because as we're fond of saying here, you're the only you have. Okay?
Love you a long time.
Yep. Take y'all, take and have a good week. And we'll talk to y'all real soon. Okay?
Bye.
Bye, everybody.